Um, we found out some other news, which for some strange reason, I don't think it's making that big of a splash. Which is kind of actually, I take that back. I am not surprised that it's not making a big splash because this book has been doing a whole lot of fucking nothing. So, Avengers 800 is coming out, and the solicit says that it's the end game of Jed Mackay's run or the finale. Now, there's a couple more issues after 800, but apparently this is going to kickstart the finale. So, I've been on this channel. First off, I was praising this run. Then over time I realized, oh shit, this book ain't really doing anything. Every other week it's caught up in a new event, and the main story that it's trying to tell, it hasn't been able to tell it, and now we are seemingly hitting the end game.
I'm finna go hard on this topic. I'm finna go hard.
So I don't know. I'll open the floor to you guys before I really jump into the bones of this. But I mean, Q, go ahead, bro.
All right, so one, I want to state that I love this Avengers team, right? I love the way everybody was at like the place of their career, their hero careers, at the start of this series, right? Jed Mackay was cooking on a lot of different fronts. He had a lot of momentum. This started off really strong. I think, and like Rose said, I have a few theories. One, I think Blood Hunt really threw a lot of like wrinkles in the shit, like a lot of like waves into like the plan, right? I think the lack of communication with those editorial teams really on the tail end of coming out the event really kind of like threw some stuff off, right?
Mm.
The Black Panther embargo threw off some of Jed McKay's plans. Obviously, we kind of already kind of put two and two together on why we're not getting a follow up from that one series or even the Eve Ewan series, and we're probably going to get something all the intergalactic stuff out of Imperial, probably because Hickman is more than likely going to be the front runner to write that series. It was just the writings on the wall. Um, I think Jonathan Majors' case really messed this book up.
Definitely.
I think they wanted to separate themselves. They were like they had invested so much like narrative real estate in the tribulation trials or whatever the shit was called, the missing points in time, and they even
Mm-hmm.
had to the point they had a bulletin board of all the next like 20 major Marvel events in the book.
Hmm.
We only got to like four of them hoes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think because you have to wrap the Jonathan May. Honestly, I think another reason is that they also don't know what they're going to do with Kang and Jonathan Majors. I think that's another thing too because
Uh,
Jonathan Major is unfortunately to those who disliked him still or haven't forgiven him, he is trending upward in Hollywood circles. He is trending up to get more work. Coming off some of his performances, people are his engagement to making good. He's done a lot of rehabilitation to
mm-hmm.
his image, right? Sorry about that. Um, but I think that and some of like just I don't know some of the MCU synergy. There's been a lot to derail this book, and another thing is funny because when we were talking about one of the pods, like, whew, this had to be at least 6-7 months ago. But we were talking about how before Limited launched, right? We were talking about how the Justice League books when the Titans were taking over, it just didn't feel like a Justice League book, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how DC was chasing sort of what the Avengers book was at the time with who was writing it before Jed McKay? Uh,
Jason Aaron.
Jason Aaron, and it wasn't necessarily good, but it felt like an Avengers story, right? He was telling over the top stories. It was the circle. It was the focal point of everything. And we at that time we were talking about how DC was chasing their hero, their team flagship book to be similar like that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think Jed McKay on the whim turned this book into Justice League Unlimited Light. With he always said it was going to be a rotating last member, but it
Mm-hmm.
became kind of like it took an uptick in the last few months with the rotation of characters. And I think that's reactionary to what he's been seeing in the popularity in Justice League Unlimited. But
Oh.
I flipped to somebody else.
AJ, go ahead, brother.
Um, yeah, I agree with a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
The Majors point especially because they were setting Kang up as the big bad of this run from the very first arc, and then when his case blew up, the book kind of blew up. So I absolutely agree with that. Then a lot of it has been he's played second fiddle to a lot of events. With Blood Hunt, it was a bit better because McKay was also writing Blood Hunt, but like all the stuff that's going on this past year, like tying in the X-Men, the stuff One World Under Doom, which I stopped reading a while ago. Um, yeah, like the focus has never been on just making a good Avengers book. It's almost been like not a launching point, but an intersecting point where it's like, hey, where other books in the Marvel universe we can kind of make their effects impact this team. And I don't know if that should be how you go with your main team. Maybe your main team should be the one impacting the outside books in your
Mm.
universe. But that's neither here nor there. Just at this point, the book has been a whole bunch of nothing. I've been sticking around with it as long as I have been because of, hey, that was the one place where I was getting Black Panther stuff. In the 616. Then we got the period where he just wasn't used for a while. I understand, story wise what he was doing, but it's clear, it was clear as day. The Black Panther embargo, it affected this book. So it is what it is. It's gonna end up going down as a largely forgettable Avengers run. Like I said, the best parts will be the Blood Hunt tie-ins and the early part of the book when it had some sort of focus where it looked like, hey, Kane was gonna be the big bad. Then you had the Impossible City stuff. After
Mm-hmm.
that, the book kind of goes off the rails, and we're left with a floundering title. It's just you don't want your one of your floundering titles at your book to also be your flagship team book. So that's where you run into problems. And then I hate it that it's going to be a legacy issue too, because I really see it going out with a whimper, and that's not something you want for a book. You're hitting 800, and like I don't know, man. Just that's
And
going to be
Steph,
a
before you
hard
go,
way to
Steph.
cap
Oh,
off
my bad.
800 issues. Nah, go on.
I just thought about this. Another thing that really hurts this book is that the entire universe has moved past this book, right? And I say
Oh.
that because Iron Man is still in his mutant the mutant metal armor shit, and he's like
All
three
right.
armors removed from that.
Yeah.
Like 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 Black Panther is still in his Eve Ewing's run like armor like suit. Like a lot of the stuff that's in this book is moved. Only thing that's like modernized is Storm. That's the only thing that's set like really set in like
Mm-hmm.
concrete in like this current times because like it's post Krakoa. But like a lot of this book dealt with Krakoa. Like it's the tail end of Krakoa. It's like everything's moved past. It doesn't seem important.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead, Steph.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I don't want to repeat everything we already said, so I'm just gonna focus on this other thing, where it's just like I feel like we predicted this, like Ro, you and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like we said like McKay is gonna drop this book,
Mm-hmm.
um, just because like he's got so many different things to do, and he's got so much more to like say. It was either this or Moon Knight, but I think I said he was gonna drop this one.
Yep.
Just because he's got so much, he's got so much gas in the tank left still when it comes to Moon Knight that he's just like he's not going to leave that one.
No, that's his
This,
baby.
that's his baby. That's his baby. If there was one thing he was going to let go of, it was probably this. So it's really not the craziest thing in the world uh, to see that he's leaving, to see that the book is ending. It's also just like I don't want to say that he's entirely blameless, but also when you're in a situation where you're writing a team book where it's always playing, you know, like we said, second fiddle to whatever event is going on at the moment, and it's a much more like reactionary book rather than like, you know, being, you know, like the like front and center for most of these events. It's much more of, you know, being on the receiving end of what happens in them, right? At that point, it's like, what else are you supposed to treat this book like? You know, like I'm not saying that he shouldn't. I'm not saying that he shouldn't do that. I'm not saying that he should do that. It's really just because of the fact that like every writer has a book that is just to pay the bills, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, that's just kind of the nature of the business. It's like you have a book where you put your heart and soul into it, and then you got a book that keeps the lights on. You know, people keep talking about like Al Ewing being washed because of one bad Venom, right? But he's like writing generational Thor right now, like in the background, just in his own corner. His Green Lantern book is definitely, it was kind of slow, but like I don't know, I like that. It's definitely
That Green
picking
Lantern
up.
has gotten really good.
Yeah.
Mainline?
But like his Venom, it's just like you
Absolutely.
gotta sit there. But it's just like, you know, every once in a while, even if it's, I mean, like, to be fair, I don't really like know if this is true. It's just kind of like I'm looking at the least entertaining book on the roster and going like, he's in it for the money. This is a paycheck.
Yeah.
Right. But like sometimes you just got to do that. Sometimes you just got to look at your goat and you got to look at them fumbling, and instead of admitting that they missed, you just got to go, he's not even trying. This is a paycheck.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And in a case like this, where it's always, you know, on, you know, reacting to everything that is happening rather than being at the forefront of it, you know, whether that's a created decision or just how he, you know, that's just how he chooses to, how he feels he's got to, you know, structure the book with all these different events and whatever, you know, what are we supposed to do other than call it a paycheck book, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's got that Nova book up. Maybe that's the paycheck book now.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
gotta
know.
do something good with Nova.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that makes sense, because I feel like in the beginning, I think we could all agree in the beginning, like this book had some serious momentum. Like I felt that the first arc, I was like, oh, I can see this becoming like an event, like the tribulation trials. Like this doesn't sound something you contain in one book.
Yeah.
This sounds like something, you know, the X-Men should also be dealing with. Spider-Man should also be. It's like this. It felt like something was bubbling, and then when the first arc died, I was like, okay, cool. It's still lingering in the background, and then after a while, you just notice it's like, wait, yo, you kind of forgot that the tribulation stuff was a thing. You forgot. So then now it was just like, after 20 some issues, like I started to poke through the solicits. I was like, are we ever going to get back to the plot? Like ever? And it seems like we have, but it's a little too, it's too little too late. And I think what started off as, you know, something that could have a lot of potential, I think McKay saw the writing on the wall. He saw the writing on the wall. He's like, oh, okay, I'm never going to be able to tell this story the way I want to, so fuck it all. Like fuck it all. And for what it's worth, I mean, there's people that like this book, and to be fair, there's been some good moments in this book. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like the book was always mid. The stuff with Black Panther, really good. The healing of the relationship with Sam and Black Panther after the Ridley stuff, wonderful. I think Captain Marvel is a great leader. I think the addition, Storm being, you know, a new part of the team, I think that was a nice shakeup. That was awesome.
I just wish she would have had something to actually do.
Yeah.
I think every arc had something in it.
Yeah, but she should absolutely be on the Avengers, but you just haven't done anything with her. And I think that might be in response to, you know, everybody saying that her book is which I don't agree with. But everybody's saying her book is nothing but hype moments and her being OP. I'm like, she's an Omega level mutant, guys. Yes, she's the most powerful person in the room, in whatever room she walks into. Get over it. But
That's a damn good
um,
book.
it really is. It really is.
It's a damn good book.
It's the only X book I got to be pulling after a while,
Yeah.
and I'm still, even with them doing this apocalypse shit, I'm taking a break on that. So whatever. But so I can understand McKay not wanting to go super big with her because that's already happening in her solo. But
Mm,
yeah, she really didn't have much to do in the run at all.
But I also think that's a byproduct of like, cause he sprinkled the X-Men in there. Right now, I think the X-Men are like currently watching over the planet right
Yeah.
now, as
Uh
right.
huh.
mm-hmm.
So you could see the seeds of what he wants to do, right? Like
Yeah.
this, like I think we all understand, like this book had so much momentum. I think to AJ and Rose's point about the tribulation trials, it wasn't. We got more hype about One World Under Doom than we did the
Yeah.
tribulation trials. Like, and
Hmm.
and you have to put that at the feet of the case because Kane would have needed to be in damn near every book. Because like because he
Oh.
went to the Avengers first, right? And they were
Yes.
healing
Mm-hmm.
him, right? He was mending, blah blah blah. But if he knows all these events had to happen, there was a Spider-Man event in there. He should have been in the Spider-Man book, but we got like Kamala killed for some stupid ass reason, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, there was different events. I can't remember all of them, bro. But like, he should have had more influence in the X-Men books. But
Yeah.
you can't promote Kang like that because you're trying to separate from Loki season 1 and 2 you know and all of those things and Ant-Man movie and all of those things. That's the problem with all the synergy connection between the movies and the
Yeah.
comics because you're so hell bent on who like it's like comic book fans don't give a shit. I mean, just in the grand scheme of shit, don't give a shit about what happened with old buddy, right? Like
No.
like
Hmm.
Kang is not him, right? You know what I'm saying? He portrays Kang. So if I see Kang in a comic, I'm not gonna be turned off of it because I'm seeing his face because I'm not seeing his face. If that makes
And
any sense, right?
Kang is white in the comics. That
You,
too.
you feel exactly. So you know, I think that goes back to what we always been saying about Marvel is editorial. There's no, they need an all in immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say you start from scratch, but I wouldn't mind some sort of we're gonna dumb everything like not the ultimate universe per se, but let's put Peter back into the grad. Let's put Peter in grad school again. He's dating Mary Jane. You know what I'm saying? He got an internship at Horizon Labs. You can start blending and melding different eras and but like making them younger a little bit. Put
Mm-hmm.
T'Challa back as king and not exiled, right? You know what I'm saying? Start putting start folding some of this because like I think because of Marvel's like how Marvel's timeline is structured, it's always never ending. Like people have been
Yeah.
alive since 1930, 1920, 1800s. It's we wind some. Let's get back to Wolverine did not knowing his past, right? Let's start telling some different stories in those eras, not necessarily those eras, but like a modernized version of those eras, if that makes sense.
And yeah, that makes sense because I think this book is a byproduct of just things being stagnant. Like it fits perfectly. Like, I mean, you got Sam here. What has Sam been doing for the not nothing of importance really? I mean, besides
Not
being
since
the other
that
cat.
Not since that last Sentinel of Liberty series where he fought White
Yeah.
Wolf.
So like, what's up with? I know Wanda has a series, but like I don't know. I feel like I haven't been reading it, but it feels like we're just retreading a lot of like the same things over and over again. So yeah, Steph also said it perfectly last week when we were talking. Like, yeah, we could probably use an all in, you know, lock down, go get rid of the old editorial, lock everybody down who's staying. This is what the plan is. Okay, launch these books, and then hopefully it's something fresh. Because now I'm gonna be honest, if the Avengers doesn't come back after this, like if we don't get another Avengers book, which we probably will because it's Marvel, I'm not gonna be excited to read it.
It's gonna be Bendis.
I'm.
Watch what
Ooh.
I say. Watch what I say.
I
Like
mean,
it's already rumors on the wall that Bendis is coming back to Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
If with everything going on with DC and the momentum DC has both on the comic side with Absolute and with the movies right now and TV, it would make sense. It's the only, and with them being a little more chummy and friendly, both companies, it only make and it's always been a monkey see monkey do business. It's about
Yeah.
that time, right? They low key bopped us on Absolute Universe. Let's go ahead and pay it forward, and let's do it all in. Bendis is probably going to show run it with Hickman, right? It'd probably be them two playing the Josh Williamson and Scott roles, and then go from there.
I gotta. I up you this one. Hear me out. What came out this week? Ultimate Incursion 5. All right, hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Hear me out. So in Ultimate Incursion, right?
I'm not reading it,
Miles.
so you gotta let me know.
Yeah. So Miles takes the remaining origin boxes from the Ultimate Universe because there was the Maker was over there, just like creating heroes and blah blah blah. But Miles got like he got the recipe, and he's bringing those origin boxes back to the 616, and he specifically said the Avengers are the only ones that I know that can deal with this. All right. Also, we found out that Miles's book is also ending. So
Yeah, he's gonna. You're thinking along
yep,
the same lines. I would
yep.
say
So
he's gonna write the next Miles book.
so I'm thinking two things here. Either Camp is probably gonna write the next Miles book, or whatever Ultimate Incursion is done. Because again, we're gonna see trickle down from that universe to the 616. My bet is that Camp is gonna write the next Avengers book with the changes from the Ultimate Universe. Because I think that would be a good way to compensate him not having the Ultimates book anymore, because that was his baby. So if you're gonna prematurely end the Ultimates line, what are you gonna do to make your rising star happy? You give them your biggest title. Give him Avengers, and then he can have Miles on the team. They can deal with the aftermath from Ultimate Incursion. I think it's a win-win. So I think this is a good place to end it. So fellas, also, but before I do all that, let us know your thoughts, by the way, about McKay's Avengers ending. Our theories on what's gonna happen with the Ultimate Universe and the main line. And yeah, let us know, man. Let's have a conversation, because I know this is gonna ruffle some feathers for sure.